blind world could clearly see. But invariably, the one had a way of always turning into two, and two, three, as the discussion heated. "Let those Europeans work it out for themselves," Eli would say. "Me, I don't want a single one of our boys dying over there for them, not after the last war." And then the three might become four, or even more, until it was clear as the torment on my face why I was really there, drinking myself into a dulled state, and that it wasn't all over the gloomy condition in Europe. That clearly, undeniably, I simply didn't want to go home. That home merely reminded me of the promise and hope rapidly fading from my life. That once I had been in the doctoral program at Columbia, instructing graduate candidates in 19th century European history while I finished my dissertation. That once I had a smart and beautiful wife who thought of me as the center of her universe, but now looked at me with scorn and disappointment, if she even looked at me at all. And a daughter, Emma, the apple of my eye no matter what I had done to ruin things, who had seen me stagger home more sideways than straight far more times than she could even count to at the age of 4. "Mommy, what's wrong with Daddy?" she would ask. "Is he sick?" "Yes, honey, Daddy's just not feeling well," Liz would say, doing her best to cover for me. Hearing my daughter's words and seeing her questioning look was the most painful part of it for me. Still, as bad as things had become with Liz, and whenever it was that our troubles had truly begun, tonight, it seemed, the whole city was in the same state of unrest. Maybe the world. Tonight, over 20,000 supporters of that maniac Hitler had gathered at Madison Square Garden to listen to finger-pointing fascists spew their hate and vitriol on the Jews and the international interests who were threatening our society. Thousands, dressed in khaki shirts and armbands, or even in their business suits draped in Nazi flags, listening to anti-Semites like Fritz Kuhn, Father Coughlin, and Joseph McWilliams, known as Joe McNazi, rile them up into a hate-filled state, shouting their vile calumnies against the Jews and Bolsheviks who they claimed had infiltrated our government and were now ruining our country. Bernard Baruch, Henry Morgenthau, Felix Frankfurter, and our president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and his commie New Deal. I'd heard there were over 2,000 of New York's policemen trying to keep order over on 8th Avenue, and thousands of protesters, the last line of sanity in this world, shouting back and pointing fingers at them for their treatment of Jews in Europe, shouting, "Fascists, make Europe safe for everyone." Now, 3 hours later, the bastards were still roaming the streets around town in raucous bands of 6 or 10, singing Nazi songs, busting into fistfights with hecklers who flung curses and garbage back at them, railing against the interventionists who were trying to draw America into Europe's unrest. "America is for Americans," they would say. Yes, it was all crazy. Not just in my soul and my conscience tonight, but everywhere. Eli, just one more. Eli, in his white shirt, sleeves rolled up, and a matching apron around his waist, looked at me with a philosophical shake of his head. The wisdom that came from serving 1,000 people like me with similarly empty souls. "Don't you have something better to do with your life, son, than sit here?" His look said, "You're smart, educated. You're not like the usual riff-raff who crawl their way in here this time of night. Go on home. You've got a beautiful gal waiting for you there, an adorable daughter. Didn't you show me their picture once?" But then he just shrugged, that complacent, unjudging bartender's shrug that says, "I just give 'em what they want." And he reached to the shelf for the open bottle of Cutty and filled my glass one more time. "Your poison, young man." Yes, my poison. This time I waved off the vermouth and took a gulp, no longer even feeling the bite of the alcohol, just the warmth of it going down and doing its job, forgetting. "You know what tonight is, Eli?" I asked him. I lit another cigarette. "All I know is it's a woeful night to make a living," he said, turning his blue Irish eyes at the sparse crowd and at the bedlam going on outside. You could still hear bands of them parading down West 43rd Street, roaming the deserted, trash-lined streets, drunkenly singing their patriotic songs.